Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome to East Ayrshire Coalfield Environment Initiative's little Owl Pellet dissection. My name's Laura. I'm the project manager with the East Ayrshire Coalfield Environment Initiative, which I'm going to just keep calling CEI for the rest of the session because it does become a little bit of a mouthful. So hopefully you can see, rather than my beautiful face, hopefully you can see the owl pellet out here in front of you all. I was very, very lucky to be out on a peat bog on Tuesday. And not only did I find this barn owl pellet, but I also actually saw a vole. Probably a field vole, I'm going to guess, but it ran across my welly very, very quickly. So that's one of the animals I'm expecting to find some remains of in here today. So peat bogs are really, really wonderful places. They are host to a wide range of Scotland's biodiversity, as well as being absolutely amazing in terms of combating climate change. But enough about that. So on our peat bog, I found this barn owl pellet. And we can tell it's a barn owl pellet because it's quite dark in colour. So actually when I found it when it was quite fresh, hold it up so you can see it properly, make sure it's in focus, it was almost black, and that's really, really distinctive of barn owl pellets. I also did have a really, really big clue because the farmer that was very kindly showing me around said, yes, we have barn owls, we have lots of barn owls, there's plenty more pellets where they came from. So yeah, a little bit of local knowledge always helps. And you can tell by the size as well that it's a barn owl pellet. And owl pellets are really, really interesting. So I was doing a bit of swatting up before I was speaking to you today. No birds of prey can chew, they don't have teeth. They're just resort to kind of gobbling any small animal that they find whole. But owls have I don't know if it's weaker digestive juices, but just a slightly different digestive makeup than a lot of other birds of prey. So typically more of the fur and hair and things are actually preserved. So you get these really, really nice pellets that they're famous for. And something interesting that I only found out, again, when I was doing a little bit of research, was that this owl pellet will be the same size as the animal's gizzard. So they don't have teeth, they swallow down a mouse or a vole or a frog or whatever it is whole. It goes down into their gizzard and it gets kind of churned all up in there. And some birds will actually have stones in their gizzard. So I used to work on a city farm in Edinburgh, and we once made I don't know if mistake's the right word, but we took chickens to a shopping centre to meet the public, and one of the young chickens pecked a woman's diamond earring out of her ear, which no doubt went straight into the gizzard to help grind down their food. And then all of the lovely, delicious, nutritious parts of the food pass from the gizzard into the rest of the digestive system. I'm just going to refer to my notes here because I just learned a very interesting word. So all this remains of up to 4 or 5 animals travels up from the gizzard and into an organ called the proventiculus, and it just hangs about in there for up to 10 hours, basically until the owl is ready to eat again, and they spit it out. Particularly liked a description I read on the internet of the owl having a pained expression on its face when they did that. So they'll spit it out and then they're ready to eat again. So if you find an owl pellet, do recommend you, use some gloves just to keep your hands nice and clean. Do not use your best Tupperware to store it in. I've got it in an old margarine tub. But you can give it a quick blast in the microwave just to get rid of any bacteria that might be found inside a whole vole, or of course being in an animal's digestive system for 10 hours. So if they get a bit dry, which they will do after being in your house for a couple of days, you can just add a little bit of water to soften them, and that will make it a bit easier for them to be dissected. So just put a little bit of water in. just to soften it out. You can actually, and this is what you would do if you were undertaking a bit more of a thorough survey of what the owls in a particular area had been eating, you could just leave it all to soak for overnight, a couple of days, and everything will eventually just come apart by itself, and you can just use a big sieve and sieve it out. But it's a really great way to sort of find out what the animals in a certain area have been eating. Just going to try and keep this in view while I do it, and you can see it starts to break apart quite easily. Got here a little, looks like a little leg bone. So what we're really trying to find in terms of identification in here is something that looks, ooh, where's the lens? Something that looks a little bit like this. So this is the jawbone. And most importantly, I'll try and bring this right up to the lens. Might need to look at it in some photos. You can see that the teeth are intact. So it's the teeth that really let you know exactly what sort of animal it is. So you can see at the front, this is the, wait, let me get my left and right correct. So this will be the left-hand side of the jaw. You've got the attachment here. This is where the muscles will attach, where it'll attach to the rest of the skull. If we're lucky, we might find more of a skull. And you can see these big, well, this big tooth at the front here. Ooh. So we know it's some kind of rodent, which kind of narrows it down. But what else is an owl going to be eating on a peat bog in southwest Scotland? But we can see the teeth here, and it'll be the teeth that'll let us know exactly what sort of rodent it is. Let's have a look. I'm going to consult. I've got a great PDF here. Again, I'll post the link on Facebook and on Twitter, and this will really help us work out exactly what it is. So I think, from memory, I think this is some kind of vole. If you look at the way the teeth are attached, they're kind of all in one sort of long strip, whereas a mouse, it'll look a little bit more sort of individual teeth. As a vole, it's very kind of almost a zigzag pattern on the top, and to me it looks like a field vole, but I'll get some pictures and I'll link to the PDF so you can have a look for yourself. But it looks like a field vole. So field vole, we're expecting it to be about this length. So I'll get my ruler. I'm trying to keep the ruler in shot so people can see. But yeah, we'll get this ruler, and actually that's quite big. That is quite big. So for a field vole, I would expect, I'd expect that to be about 1 centimetre, which it is. Maybe it's a big, I think the males are probably slightly bigger than the females. So that's about 1 centimetre, maybe a bit bigger. A water vole would be a similar size. And a bank vole would be probably about half the size, so considerably smaller. And my suspicion would be that it isn't a water vole because I haven't seen any in that particular habitat. But, you know, I'm happy to be corrected. It would be very exciting to see one. I would fully expect there to be the remains of more than one animal in here. It's also possible that there could be the remains of a frog in here, although they are more likely to be quite crunched up. I think that's another little leg bone. But they will eat even things like earthworms, which we're not going to find remains of, because they are all soft and potentially delicious if you're an owl. And sometimes we'll find, again, I might expect this a bit later in the year, some very tiny bones here. So this could be maybe from a foot. Very hard to get that in focus because it's so small. We would expect to find maybe beetle wing cases, things like that. So the harder parts of an invertebrate that wouldn't be kept. Then of course we've got lots of lovely fur there, which is what holds it all together. This looks like it is going to be a bit more of that skull. So possibly, as it's quite close, probably from the same meal. Should be able to see there, you can see those teeth, that are very, very distinctive of it being a rodent. You can see there, you've got the you've got the front teeth. There we go. Pick it up and show it to you this way. You've got the front teeth, very, very distinctive, and these will keep on growing throughout the rodent's life. And you've got these very, very big eye sockets that you can see there, and they are on the side of the head because these are little prey animals. And of course we've got the other half of that jaw. So again, the teeth, that front tooth, and you can see where there is going to articulate into the rest of the head. Right. Oh, you can see there, as I'm pulling that out, that is just perfect. Now that's the ball from the ball and socket joint of the hip. And this is actually quite sturdy. And if we compare it to this, this one that we have here, if we can pick them up, you can probably see it's the same bone, but they're not exactly symmetrical, which makes me think that actually we're looking at two different individuals here. Oh, look at that, beautiful. We've got another skull in here, and it's slightly smaller. So we've got, this is the jawbone here, and it looks to me to be slightly smaller than the other individual that we had. So there's not much in it. So possibly safe to say they're both the same species, but one seems to be bigger than the other, but exactly the same dentition, so the same teeth. We've got these teeth here, so we know that it's a rodent, and these teeth here that are making me think probably a field vole. So another couple of little bones there stuck together, and we're sort of getting to the point where if we're finding sort of ribs and little arm and leg bones, they're going to be quite similar. And you can see they're really very, very jumbled up. So that's the action of all that digestion that has been going on in the owl's gizzard. And what else have we got? Some tiny, tiny bones. I'm not going to dissect out every single tiny bone in here. Just got probably just two voles in here. Which seems like a reasonable meal. Certainly the vole I saw on out on the bog was pretty chunky, pretty large in comparison to a barn owl. So I think that would be quite a good eating if you can catch it. And barn owls are really, really interesting. They have no waterproof coating on any of their feathers, which enables them to do that really, really silent flight and really sneak up on their prey. But it does make it a little bit difficult to go hunting when it's been raining. Unlike the other skull remains, you can see the eye sockets are complete, and you can see sort of in comparison what quite big eyes these animals really have. And like I said before, sideways looking, because they are prey animals, and you can see that underneath you can see those teeth. So there we have it. We've got two voles, I think most likely field voles, which ties into what we know about a barn owl's diet and the habitat that they're living on, and they're obviously eating really, really well. So these voles look to be quite big and healthy, obviously getting plenty of food in there, so plenty of grass and sedges, things like that. And the barn owls are getting plenty to eat as well. So yeah, another reason to protect the peat bogs in East Ayrshire. Thank you so much for watching.